and we're back with more Wi-Fi battles from Generation 6. I know you're probably already wondering why I'm still uploading Generation 6 battles, but I think I've already explained myself why that is. It's because I'm trying to upload these battles chronologically. Not to mention I've been wanting to upload these kinds of battles for years now. When I heard about Generation 6 and when I finally got my hands on one of the games from Generation 6, I've been wanting to post battles or even gameplay footage of the games. But I mean, I wasn't able to, so now that I can, I might as well do it, you know. And like I said, I like to be somewhat organized, so of course I'm gonna upload all my battles chronologically. Now I'm not gonna freaking split Sun and Moon and then Generation 6, then Sun and Moon again. Maybe I can do that once I start to get into more contemporary battles, but right now I'm just doing the retrospective battles, so yeah, hope you guys don't mind that. But yeah, anyways, back to the battle, and this is going to be another battle against Teslamouse, and it's going to be using the same team that I used against Roflinmeboat, Ludus Live, and Magnitude, as you guys saw in the previous battles. And I wanted to see if this team can actually work against him, because with Teslamouse, he's actually a very, very difficult battler to get around, because he actually has very well-made teams. He doesn't just string together teams and just hope for them to work. He actually makes very, very good teams, so I wanted to see if this team that I made is actually really, really good, or is it just been lucky all this time. This guy was the right guy in my opinion at the time to actually confirm that for me. But at the same time, looking at his team now and seeing how it's a completely different new team now. I know he switches up his teams usually, but they usually have a very similar base, but this one has a completely different one. So. But at the same time, I feel like my odds of winning this battle was actually a lot more greater, so I had more confidence that I can actually fare better in this battle. So yeah, this is what we're gonna see right now, how this battle goes down. Hopefully nothing crazy goes down, but yeah. Okay, I'm gonna lead off with Swampert, and he's gonna lead off with Lord Raiden, which is this annoying Thunder's Eye, and I'm just gonna go for the Focus Blast. Me go for Focus Blast with a Swampert? Gee, I wonder when that's ever happened. Anyway, Thunderous Eye goes for Focus Blast. I go for Stealth Rock turn 1. He goes for another Focus Blast. It misses, so I just go for Scalds, just to see if I can get the burn on this thing. Because getting the burn on this thing would be nice, because this thing likes to stay when the matchup's favorable, and when it doesn't like to stay, it just Volt Switches. So if I can get him to stay on a matchup that he likes while getting the thing burned, I can just wither it down over time. Anyways, he went for another Focus Blast. It hits again, and I go for a second Skull, and it does a lot more than before thanks to the Torrent boost, and I do get the burn this time. Looking at how this Lord Raiden is actually a leftovers one, tells me that it's probably a substitute one, so it makes me kind of glad that I stayed in and not try to switch out, because he probably would have gotten a substitute or something. He's gonna switch this thing out though, and as you saw, my Custap Berry actually procced. I was actually going to use that as a way to get around him just outspeeding and just hitting me with another Focus Blast. But he just switches out. I think I've battled Tesla with this Swampert before, so he's kind of aware that I usually run Custap on this thing. So it's going to be a little harder to get around it. Or pulling it off once again. Because it's not very consistent of a strat in my opinion. He goes for he goes into the original, which is the Mew. And I go for the rocks because I thought he was gonna default, but he didn't. He actually just went for the Will-O-Wisp and burned my Swampert, and then he goes for Defog, and then this is where I was like, you know what, that's fine because he got me burned. So now I can just spam Stealth Rocks because I'm slower, and he can keep going for Defog all he wants. But the fact that he burned me actually allows me to go down smoothly, and then I'll be able to get a switch advantage while still having the rocks up, because I was definitely gonna just go for rocks there until Swampert goes down, and now I get a free switch into Bisharp as a result. And now here he's definitely gonna switch out because he definitely wants to keep this Mew, because knowing Teslamouse, he definitely wants to keep anything that can keep hazards off his side of the field. And he's gonna switch into Keldeo, and I just go for the knockoff. And I'm actually kind of glad I went for the knockoff, because this Keldeo was actually, yeah, the justified, but that almost never matters on a Keldeo. But I got to knock off the Expert Belt on this Keldeo, which is really, really good, because now this makes me feel a lot more comfortable switching into Roserade. Even if he actually predicts to switch into it and tries to go for Icy Wind, because I'm pretty sure without the Expert Belt, it'll definitely do less than half or something, or I'm convinced anyway. And then here I just definitely tried to go for a, I think a Giga Drain. but he just switches in lower rating as a sack just to get switch initiative here, because he's gonna sack this and now get a switch of his own, basically a switch advantage here, and he goes back into the original. Now I'm confident that this is definitely a bulky Mew, so I definitely just stayed in and went for the sleep powder, hoping the freaking goodness it doesn't miss, and thankfully it doesn't miss. And now here I got this thing asleep. It gets 1 turn of sleep burned already, so what I'm gonna do here is actually risk playing the dice and actually switching out into Bisharp here, because I figure, you know what, I can actually knock this thing off right now while it's asleep, because I don't want this thing getting passive recovery with those leftovers, so that would be a good thing for me to do, to knock it off. But here I actually, yeah, here I double switch and I go into Diancie, because I had a feeling he didn't want to stay in with Mew for me to just knock it off, because once again he needs this thing to get rid of those rocks. So here I'm gonna just switch into Diancie, and he's gonna go into the bully anyways, which is the Garchomp. And here I stay in with Diancie just to protect, just to get the Mega Evolution up, and as well as the speed that goes along with it and whatnot, the speed boost that is. And also to scout out what move this thing goes for, in case this thing is like a Scarf Garchomp or something. He goes for Earthquake, so I was like, okay, so maybe this thing is Scarfed. So I switch into Bisharp right here, because I have the Air Balloon on this thing, and I should be able to take the Earthquake, which I don't, because it's immune for it due to the Air Balloon. But he goes for Flamethrower here, and I was like, what the fuck? Is this a mixed attacking Garchomp with Flamethrower? And on top of that, okay, yeah, and then I go for Knockoff here just to knock off its item. Turns out this thing also has Rocky Helmet. So this thing has Rocky Helmet, has Flamethrower, and has Earthquake. So this is a mixed attacking Garchomp that's, I guess, semi-bulky with, or is it an offensive Garchomp, an offensive mixed Garchomp with Rocky Helmet? I don't know. That is such a weird set though. Here, after the knockoff, I just went for a Sucker Punch, because after taking that Flamethrower, I just figured, you know what, there's no reason to keep this Bisharp around any longer. It's just gonna die to whatever else. Nothing really outspeeds it, I'm looking at the rest of his team anyway. So I just switch in Diancie and just go for the Moonblast just to take it out. I was confident he was not gonna switch into anything else. He does go into Card Trooper though, which is the Metagross. And here I definitely switch out because I don't want to take a Bullet Punch. So I go into Zapdos here. And here I don't remember if I went for Volt Switch or if I went for Heat Wave here. Oh no, I switched into Zapdos and he double switched here, predicting me to switch out my Diancie. And he goes back into the original, just to, you know, burn another turn of sleep. And I think here is where I decide to go for the Volt Switch and then send in, what's it called, Diancie, to basically finish this thing off before it wakes up, because this thing is so bulky and I don't want it to be spamming Recover every time it once it wakes up, because this thing is so bulky that it takes hits like nothing. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how bulky Mew can be. But yeah, this thing stays, gets another turn of sleep, burning basically. Gets more lefties, which is actually annoying because it's giving it more recovery and it's reducing my chances of taking this thing out. I go for a Moonblast here, and look how much it does. It does almost nothing. It wakes up here and it defogs. The magic balance doesn't matter because it still defogs every hazard anyway. And here, I think after that, I just go for the Moonblast once again. I was actually hoping that I'd be able to KO it with the Moonblast here, because looking at the damage it did earlier, it didn't seem to, and it actually did. So thankfully, because for a second I thought it wasn't gonna KO right there, because it got more leftovers, so I thought it wasn't gonna KO, but it did. And now here he goes back in the Card Trooper, which is the Mega Gross again, and here I make a very, very critical play, and this was one that I actually needed to make, kind of. I stayed in with Diancie, risking the Bullet Punch, and I decided to just stay in an Earth Power just to get some damage in case he doesn't predict. And I do get the prediction right. He doesn't go for Bullet Punch, and I do outspeed because, you know, due to how the Mega's mechanics work in Generation 6. And I actually take out this Mega Gross because of the Earth Power critting it, which was actually really huge. The plan was for me to just do damage with it with the Earth Power, because I didn't think it was going to one-shot due to Earth Power not being stabbed. Well, and then I was just gonna send in Zapdos to just either Volt Switch, depending on how much damage it does. I might either Volt Switch or just Heat Wave. But it just KO'd it, so I was like, okay, that works too. And then he goes into Shut Up, which is the Sylveon, and I'm like, no, bro, you shut up. You're telling me what's the rush, and I'm here telling you that I need to hurry up with these battles because I want to get to Sun and Moon already. Come on, man. You gotta understand me too, man. Anyways, I switched into Lucario, I think, here. Just to take in a Hyper Voice, because I didn't want to lose Diancie yet. And then he switches, I go for Ice Punch thinking he'd stay in just to finish my Lucario off, because it was a 2-shot with its Hyper Voice and whatnot. But he just switches into Keldeo, and I just E-speed it afterwards, and KOs my Lucario with a Sacred Sword, I think it was. Oh no, it was a Scald, actually. Took out my Lucario with a Scald, and then I just sent in Zapdos. Take an Icy Wind, which is fine, because no Expert Belt, so it's not going to do a lot. And I just Volt Switch, and I just take out this Keldeo, which is good. And then here, I just send in Roserade, which can definitely take out his last Pokemon, which is Sylveon. Or should I say, shut up! I don't want to shut up. But, yeah, here I just go for the Sludge Bomb, because, yeah, there's no reason to. And then, I think here he just goes for Hyper Voice, because there's literally nothing else this thing can do. It's just going to die to another Sludge Bomb, so I was like, yeah, that's going to be the whole game. This was a lefty Sylveon, so I'm actually glad I have a Roserade, because otherwise this was probably a bulky Sylveon, and it was probably going to take hits like nothing. So thank goodness. And here I just finished it off with Giga Drain, because I wanted to get some HP back. And yeah, that's the whole game. Sylveon goes down, and I just beat Teslamouse. And that was actually pretty cool. So even against Teslamouse, I actually managed to pull a win off with this team once again. So I was like, holy shit, what does this team have that these other teams that I've been dealing with don't have? That was either way, that was pretty cool. That was a good game, and I actually like that. I actually you know how I like to win my matches with Sharpedo. Well, here I actually win my match with another Pokemon that I like, which is Roserade. Because I don't know, Roserade just puts in a lot of work. It's a very simplistic Pokemon, but in my opinion, it actually puts in a lot of work. And this was actually one of its best highlights, finishing off a match against Teslamouse, which is one of the hardest battlers that I had to deal with in Generation 6. And not to mention one of the ones I battled the most. So yeah, that was pretty cool though. I liked it. And good game to Teslamouse as usual. And hope you stay tuned for more battles, because I have another one to showcase here. But for now, take it easy.